morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on what time zone you're in or what time you're watching this video. Today, we made it. We're getting to the trilogy of Tales. I feel like everyone has been requesting this one, and I am quite excited to kind of dig into it. I've heard a lot. It seems amazing. So without further ado, let's let it play, shall we? Oof, sweet, sweet guitar. Okay. How did you do that with such ease? That sounded so perfect. It was like a trumpet with the guitar, but there's no trumpet. It's just his mouth. That is wow. And just this feels like it's going to be. I called him a bard before, and everyone kept saying he was doing bardcore, and I think this is going to be the most bardcore out of all of the videos I've seen so far. Because this, he's on the streets. He's like a traveling troubadour, just playing his guitar and so far making instruments out of his mouth, and this is gonna be amazing.
It was a quiet dark night in an empty street somewhere in London City. Jenny walked alone, she was dragging her feet. She was heading back home to sleep.
Look at the way he's walking. He is Jenny. It's not that he's singing about Jenny. He is Jenny right now. He's also looking around the streets like as he starts talking about it, and he's dragging his feet, I'm sure, but he is Jenny. It's not that he's singing about Jenny.
Jenny walked alone, she was dragging her feet. She was heading back home to sleep. Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, because she walked it about 1,000 times before. She wanted to escape. Can you blame?
And it's that feeling of like, it's almost like she's been living this way for so long. She wants to move on to something else. She wants to probably go somewhere, do something bigger. She feels like she wants to do more. So she wants to escape. And that's kind of what he's implying here. Amazing. Also, love the graffiti on the walls. We had to stop at lick. Nice.
Wanted to escape. Can you blame? Well, on the very same night, in a different place, there was this hooded young youth by the name of James. He was 14 years old and out of his brain. He'd been smoking ganja with the boys.
Oh, the speed switch up, the flow switch up. Man, I didn't even realize he was encompassing Jenny in the way that he was playing. The music was really like sweet, soft, serene. And then he switched to this, and that's what actually made me realize that he's changed personas now. Again, we're seeing almost like the devil and Jenny. Devil and Angel, except now it's I think he said James and Jenny, and he's actually personifying them not only in the mannerisms but in the way he's playing the music, the way he's singing. It's like a lot more rambunctious sounding now. Okay.
14 years old and out of his brain, he'd been smoking ganja with the boys. James, he grew up to be a kid of the street. His mates called him Screech. He was quick on his feet. He was a liar, a thief. At 14 years old, the devil had set his sights on his soul.
God damn it. Okay. What's he gonna do, man? What's he gonna do? You can see that James is almost unhinged, right? That's even the way that Ren is singing it. He's almost coming unhinged singing the song, but it's to represent just about how unhinged James seems to be, or I guess Screech seems to be, and his friends all call him Screech. He's clearly someone who's kind of running with a gang, right? Running with a group of people that is probably not best for him, but maybe he thinks it is, and so he's got into this kind of hoodlum mentality now. Damn. Okay. I'm scared, but I'm excited. Oh my god.
A thief, at 14 years old, the devil had set his sights on his soul.
The devil set his sights on his soul.
Jenny walked home all alone, she felt scared. Usually she was alright, but it was like there was something in the air. A divine intervention telling her to beware, maybe intuition bugging her and making her so scared. Sirens sounded in the distance.
listen to the way that he switched it up. He's like getting nervous with her, right? It's like, you know, when you're trying to warn someone, like, you probably don't want to do that, right? Like that face that you make, that he's doing that right now. He's doing it with his teeth. You pull your smile back, and you're kind of like, maybe you don't want to do that. But it's Jenny's intuition that's telling her not to do that. It's saying, don't go down this street. Something feels weird. Something feels wrong. Something feels not quite right. And it's because the devil's waiting on the other side somewhere. We're probably gonna see him show up here now, and I'm nervous.
Her to beware, maybe intuition bogging her and making her so scared. Sirens sound in the distance with the beat of Jenny's feet. A symphony of the night that echoes crime on London streets. Jenny turns a corner, their eyes they meet. Our poor girl Jenny, a boy named Screech.
Symphony of the Night. The sirens of the Symphony of the Night. That's like what, and the thing is, like, she hears them, and it still makes her a little bit more scared. But it's kind of almost like that's the symphony of the streets. That's what she normally hears, right? So she's even thinking now, this is something I normally hear. Why am I getting nervous about this? Something is amiss. But if that's the sound that you are accompanied by walking home, of course you're going to be on edge, right? And Jenny is on edge, and now they've met. And let's see where this goes.
He turns a corner, their eyes they meet. Our poor girl Jenny, a boy named Screech.
Oh, a poor girl Jenny and a boy named Screech. You see the way he says it differently too? He's like getting into that mean version, that James, that Screech. Oh man.
Give me all your money, bitch, give it to me. If you cooperate, then you'll soon be free. I want your purse, your phone, don't fucking look at me. I mean it, bitch, are you listening to me?
Yo. It's the word usage. You can see he's not been raised in a good ways. I'm sure he's like, I'm getting the vibe that he's about to do something really horrible, but you can imagine that there's been things that have led him up to this point, right? Like he's running with people that he probably shouldn't be running with. They're probably not a great influence, and he's this kind of, this almost like a, he's like the devil that we were talking about before. He's almost personifying him, but a even more aggressive devil. This one's not trying to pretend he's your friend. This one is trying to steal from you. He's trying to take from you. And you can see, like, Ren looks right into the camera at us, right? As though he is Screech. But when he was Jenny, it's someone who was looking away, looking around at like kind of the street he's walking down. And it's the two personas. One is really shy and timid, kind of like looking around. And then this one is very direct, very like in your face about it. And the camera kind of pulls in a little bit to make us feel that from Screech. Just damn.
Your phone, don't fucking look at me. I mean it, bitch. Are you listening to me? Jenny freezes statue like a lady shakes
like, now he's not looking again.
Feel like liquid nitrogen in the dark night.
A lady-shaped stalactite. Feel like liquid nitrogen. Oh my god. It's, first of all, a lady-shaped stalactite. Stalactites are like basically when you walk into a cave, they're sticking up. They're like deposits left over time, and they solidify. And so she's quite literally frozen to the spot, right? But on top of that, fear like liquid nitrogen in the dark night. Liquid nitrogen has a very low freezing temperature, so it immediately freezes onto whatever it touches. And so you've probably seen it in movies, and that's what happened to her. She's frozen. That's such a beautiful way to give us like the depiction of the you know, like the deer in headlights kind of idea. And that's what she really is right now. She's a deer caught in headlights, except the headlights are Screech's eyes, and she doesn't know what to do. She's scared, and so her reaction is not to run away, it's not to scream, it's to just stay frozen. Wow. Art, such a beautiful way to say that.
He freezes statue like a lady shakes stalactite. Feel like liquid nitrogen in the dark night. She tried to find strength to move, but stayed as still as a statue in high-heeled shoes. What the hell you playing now?
Now he's looking at us again.
I swear to fucking God, I'll slice the rosy off your cheeks. You think I don't mean it, girl? You don't know me. The last thing you see will be a boy called Screech.
Oh, that transition. A boy called Screech reached for the sheets, and now we're transitioning back probably to the narrator. And the narrator, you can almost sound like when we're hearing the narrator talk, it's almost like they're trying to stay indifferent, right? So they're not really scared, they're not really aggressive, they're just kind of talking, and that's what's happening right here. But damn, Screech, like you can feel the anger that's probably welled up inside, and he's probably getting annoyed because she's not reacting, right? And he's almost offended by that, and so he's getting progressively more and more angry. And he was mentioned that he was high earlier, so he's not making the best decisions. and he was saying, like, you think I'm messing with you? So he said, I'll slice the rosy off your cheeks. He might live up to that.
With the sheath, that the blade with the teeth that could bite through steel and slice concrete, and he swung possessed with the devil in his chest, and the statue she was turned to butter in her breath.
The statue turned to butter. It's like, as soon as he cut her, all the life, like he must have cut her so deep and so quick that she just fell right away, collapsing, and so she's like butter now, melted into the ground. Wow. And just like now, I was saying the narrator is indifferent, but of course, as soon as I say that, you can start to see the narrator almost sounds disappointed by the turn of events and almost pitying Jenny.
It was a quiet, dark night in an empty street somewhere at London City. Jenny lay still on the cold concrete. She's found somewhere to sleep.
No, don't say that. She found somewhere to sleep. We return basically to the start of the song. It's like this cyclical loop that we're in now. We're caught in it. And he says, like, at the start she was going home to sleep, but now she's found somewhere to sleep. It's the ground, except this time it's probably like an eternal sleep. You know what I mean? This is the end. This is the last sleep she has because it's the last one. And you can hear just the slowdown of the way he's singing. She's found somewhere to sleep. It's like now we're slowing down. We're with her, right? She's losing touch with life. She's kind of blacking out of it. She's fading. And so everything is slowing down. Everything is becoming a little bit less saturated, and that's what we're seeing here. Man.
Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, 'cause she'd walked it about 1,000 times before. I guess that she escaped. It's such a shame.
Oh my god, don't. She escaped. That's not the escape she wanted, man. She wanted to be free and not constrained, but I guess this is being free in some semblance of the word, right? Like now she's no longer tied down to whatever was keeping her in that city. She's free to roam as a spirit. Oh my god. And just the way he kind of tapered that off there at the end with the guitars plucking too, it's like you just feel the energy of every strum. And it's like this is probably her looking up her last moments, and she's just trying to take in whatever she can, and so she's just getting these like probably little bits of light, little bits of sound, and that's it before she fades away into nothingness. Jesus. And we started with the same, or we ended with the same lyrics we started with. They're just now twisted into this like warped version of what we were expecting her to kind of go on this journey. Now it's a journey to her death. My god, Ren, what? Who are you, man? This is insanity. I think that's the first song because now it says Screech. So I think we're on to the tale of Screech. Wow. Already I'm impressed. He is quite literally a bard. I cannot believe this. This is amazing. I've never seen a performance like this before. Holy smokes. Oh, that was a cool shot. Look, his face is in shadows too. Oh, because it's Screech's tail. His face is in shadows because it's the darkness, right? The darkness is on Screech because he. If we're, are we gonna continue from where we left off? Or are we gonna learn about what made Screech the way he is? Let's find out. Let's find out. That last one, it really catches your attention. Damn. Oh man. Holy smokes. Sorry, I wanted to just pause there. That's almost like when we ended up when we were Jenny, we were a little bit slower, a little bit more peaceful, and then we went into that kind of rambunctious version. It's almost like that's what we're doing here. I think now we're picking up from where we left off because we just finished with Jenny, who was that serene thing, and maybe that's what that noise was. That damn was like her her passing, right, her death, it's the end of her story. So now we're moving on to Screech's story, who it's more rambunctious, it's more energetic, it's more aggressive, and that's what we're getting into now. Oh man, Red, come on. Is Screech gonna die? Because if that sound was kind of like Jenny's death, that we just heard the same thing at the end of what I'm considering now Screech's like music, right? Oh my god. Okay, let's see what happens. Also, just before we begin, like that's such a it's such a moving performance already, right? We started off with him on the stairs, it's almost like contemplating, and now we're starting to walk. We're walking the streets again. We were on the stairs, maybe the stairs to the afterlife, and now we're moving again because we're following Screech. That this is it. Oh.
Our story, it starts right at the end. At the life of poor Jenny, clocked out like Big Ben.
It almost sounds mocking, doesn't it? It's like, what a stupid reason for someone to die. She clocked out like Big Ben. Clocking out like you're done here, your time is over, you clocked out. But it's mocking it because it's such a ridiculous reason. She died over a robbery. But also he said, our story, it starts right at the end. Which, he says end of poor Jenny, which is her death, but also end of her story and on to Screech. Wow.
This Screech, dear boy, where did he go? He melted into the black night just like snow.
Wow. Just wow. The power in those vocals was astounding. I'm gonna re-roll it back to about like 10 seconds because I want to listen to that again. Just the power in that. And one of the lines he said there was he faded into the black night or melted into the black night just like snow. What a beautiful way to say someone left, someone disappeared into the night. You could just say someone disappeared in the night, but because it's probably winter when this happened, he melted into the black night just like snow. Jeez. The poetry. Sorry, I'm going back because I want to hear that again. The sheer power in that place.
Boy, where did he go? He melted into the black night just like snow.
That where also almost felt like it was like the narrator being like, where did you go, man? Like, why did you do it this way? Why did it have to be this way? It's like the narrator pleading why.
Patrick, man, let me in, please open the door. I think I fucked up, Patrick, really fucked up, man, I'm not sure. I got crazy, left this lady lying still on the floor. I think I killed her, Patrick, come on, man, I can't knock no more.
Screech is starting to panic. Screech is starting to freak out here. You can see it from multiple things. One, the way that Ren is performing right now, you can see the fear on his face. It's almost like he's a child. You know what I mean? It's that fear, like, please, someone help me. I'm going to knock on this door. Please help me, right? But also the camera circling around him, like there's just so many thoughts whirling around, and Screech is kind of just in like a whirlwind right now. Bloody hell, guys. Holy smokes. Patrick and Apple.
But Screech kept on knocking till his knuckles became sore.
Okay, guess
but
not.
There's no sign of Patrick down at number 54. No refuge for our villain, for the bitter hands of fate, with something far more sinister in mind that does away.
And this time, Screech wasn't looking into the camera because he doesn't have the aggression anymore, right? He doesn't have the ability to be that aggressive right now because he's scared. So he's like Jenny was at in the other song. And so now Screech isn't looking at the camera, but the narrator is, because the narrator is like he's scared, he's on the run, right? No one's answering his calls, no one's answering when he knocks on the door. Like, god damn. That's such a clever choice to leave the breathing in there so we feel like we're with Screech right now.
Hey, babe, are you in? No, nothing really. I'm just a bit tired. Listen, can I swing around yours for a few moments? I just really miss you, babe. What the fuck do you mean you're busy? You fucking bitch! For fuck's sakes!
Note how we still haven't really had Screech look into the camera because Screech is still terrified, and that's the reaction of someone terrified, right? You're reaching out to everybody around you, you're trying to get some help, and then when it feels like no one wants to help you, you just lash out. You lash out on everybody saying, you don't want to help me, I hate you, I don't want anything to do with you. How many times have we have, like, as humans, how many times do we do that, right? We're scared, we don't know what to do, and so when we reach out for help and someone doesn't know how to help us or doesn't want to help us or isn't able to at the time, we snap on them like it's their fault, even though we're the ones that did something wrong. Come on.
Siren sounds approaching like a banshee in the night. The shrill cry of justice cutting like the sharpest knife. But Screech was never one to run, not one to miss a fight. One hand upon his blade, he turned to face the blue lights.
Oh, and now he's looking into the camera, so he's regained a bit of his composure, I guess. But cutting through the night like a knife, like the sounds are cutting through the night like a knife. That is such a beautiful, beautiful way to say that. And just overall, you almost feel the fear and the pity of you feel the fear of Screech, but the pity of the narrator, like this is not going to end well. And then one of the cool ways he also said it was the siren sound of justice, like a banshee in the night, because the banshee is like a wailing sound you hear before a spirit, it's a specific type of spirit, attacks, right? And so they have a banshee's wail, and that's what that's what the sirens sound like to him, because it's this haunting sound, it's this scary, foreboding sound that's coming for him, and he knows it's coming. And so now that's what's cutting through his mind, and kind of it's having this weird effect of almost stabilizing him because he's preparing himself.
Come on then, you fucking cunts, let's fucking have you then. I am Screech, I'm the boss, I'm the ender of men. You think that uniform you're wearing means that you own these streets? These are my fucking streets, and they call me fucking Screech. Richard was...
The energy changed so much, and now we're back to the aggression. It's that self, like, inflation of confidence when you're angry and all you can do is just be like, I'm gonna take my anger out on this person who's coming for me, even though whoever is here didn't do anything wrong, right? But Screech is like, I own these streets, this is my streets, right? Like, this is my city, even though, like, it's not, right? It's not your city, man. You made a mistake. You're probably best off just admitting that you made a mistake. You're gonna go to jail, but what you're about to do now could be much stupider. Oh my god, man.
These are my fucking streets, and they call me fucking Screech. Richard was an officer who stood at 6'3", working London on the night shift. What he didn't think he'd see was a boy running at him like an animal possessed. With no time to hesitate, he fired 4 bullets at Screech's chest.
Who directed this? Because that's fantastic. I think the name came up at the start. I'm gonna have to go look at that, but god damn. Even when he's building into the officer's perception, it's almost like a mix of what the officer's seeing and what Screech is doing, right? There's almost like a derangedness to it. It's like Screech has just lost all control, lost all semblance of self-control, and now he's just rushing him. And that's what we're seeing. And it's like the music starts picking up really quickly as he starts to approach the camera, and that's because for the officer, as he gets closer and closer, he's running out of options, right? If this kid is rushing you with a knife, that's clearly he's trying to turn you to butter. He's trying to kill you. You don't have a choice. He was off the rocker at this point. All you can do is shoot him. I'm sure there are other options if he had like a taser gun or something, but in that moment, you don't necessarily have time to think, right? That's what's happening. We're hearing the music build up. The officer doesn't have time to think. It's instinct now. That's all it is. It's instinctual. And so he reaches for his gun and pop, 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 pop. and you see every shot, and it's so deliberate. In real life, it wouldn't be that slow, but because for the officer, probably time has slowed down, right? For Screech, it's also slowing down because he's about to die. So it's one, two, three, and the camera rolls back every time a shot gets shot, because that's what happens if you get shot. The force of it is one, two, and that's what we're seeing here. Eventually, until we are now Screech, and our perspective is us falling basically to our death, which is what happened with the camera.
Our story, it ends right at the start. Young Screech and poor Jenny lying one street apart.
The narrator, you can hear the pain. You can hear the pain in Ren's voice as he sings this part. And our story, it ends right at the start. It ends again where we started, with someone dead. And it almost sounds like the narrator saying why. The connotation, the inflection in his voice is basically saying why. This was so unnecessary. We didn't need this to happen. And this is like very obviously like a comment on society. There are so many people that suffer needlessly, and that's what we're seeing here, right? Like, who knows, like maybe if Screech was calling like his friends, or I guess his girlfriend, and then knocking on his friend's door, maybe he doesn't even have parents around to have helped him. Maybe he's had a life that's really tough too. And if that's the case, maybe he had no option but to turn to crime to sustain himself, to keep himself alive, to keep himself going. And without it, he would have been nothing. He would have been dead a long time ago, right? So maybe he didn't even have an option. He was backed into a corner. And that's where the rabidness comes from, because he was backed into a corner, right? That's why he was so aggressive. And holy smokes, man, it's all coming together. But Ren, you are a storytelling master, man. Holy smokes.
Not fit, so shaken by the boy that he claimed. Two bodies lay lifeless, and it's such a shame.
There it is.
It's such a shame.
And if we're thinking about it from what we heard earlier, where it's like that almost unnatural sound on the guitar, now we didn't end with that, because it's the officer we're walking away with, right? It's not Screech, it's not Jenny, because they're both dead, but the officer, he sustains. But even the music has slowed down. And Ren even mentions the officer is shaken, right? He's shaken because he had to kill this kid, kill this boy, and that's not something he wanted to do. But he didn't have a choice. In that moment, he reacted, and that's what happened. That kid died. And so now there's two deaths, and it's such a shame. It's such a shame. Beautiful. Beautiful, Ren. The choice to leave it on that shot, like whatever we see, and it's fading to black. So we lose our vision, like it fades to black, because that's it. That's the last thing we see. God damn. You are not serious. We're in a hospital. Oh, we're like really in a hospital. Holy smokes. We're in the hospital gown. We're in one of the rooms. But also this music. My God. Who's going to die, Ron? Who is going to die? Stop. Who is this? Violet? Please let Violet survive. Come on, man. Oh my God. Did you hear the note? The note. He played it again. Someone's about to die. But also just like, it sounds so sad. It sounds so somber, like this music. It's so heavy. Damn. Oh, and now we're going bardic again. before he starts singing, wow, there's so many things to be impressed by, whether it's the guitar plucking. I don't even know what to call that technique. I haven't seen anyone do that before, but that was amazing, and I wonder how hard it is to do that. Or just the vocals and his expression. Doesn't it look like he's almost haunted by the room he's in? It's like the room itself is terrifying, right? It's like, how did I end up here? Why am I here? He's looking around, almost confused, but also scared. And you can feel that in the lyrics, or not the lyrics, but in the vocals. Like you can hear it in his voice. It's a beautiful sound, but it's haunting. And that's exactly the energy I'm feeling from this. Man, I'm not ready. Damn.
London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. Rhythmic.
Look at his expression on that. He looks almost like, come on. You know what I mean? He goes like this. And it's like she's fighting just to stay alive. I think Paddington is a hospital, so I guess she is in a hospital, and she's quite literally on death's bed, and that's why he's in the hospital bed? Come on.
Down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. Rhythmic beeps and bloodstains. She saw a lady weep. She's tired and frail. To set the scene, we must rewind the hands of time for Violet's tale.
Holy crap. You know how when you hear like time rewinding in movies or shows, like that's what we just got there. That was played on the guitar though? Come on, man. How talented can one person be? Just, it's so perfect. He says we must rewind the hands of time. And in order to do that, he rewinds the hands of time, but with his guitar, using his hands, which are controlling the time of the song. God damn. Look at the persona change. The music is a little bit more jovial now.
Violet was a silent girl, grew up with violent thoughts. Her mother was a drinker and her father was a bastard. Every night he took a tie but never left the room. I'll spare you with the things he did, I'm sure her mother knew.
God damn, man. Ren. So clearly Violet is being abused, right? Her father is doing something. We can all assume what that something is. She's gone quiet. So Violet was a quiet girl, but she might not have started out that way, right? She might have learned that because her mother doesn't say anything, so maybe she protested a bunch. She tried to ask for help from her mom, but her mom is an alcoholic, and so when she turned to her, nothing happened. And so maybe either two things. Violet either just became accustomed to what she was going through and just like resigned to her fate, or she felt like no one was going to listen anyways, right? And in both cases, she is resigned to fate. Just like, come on, man. And maybe it's also just like, at this point, she gives up on everybody. So why talk to anyone, right? Because if the two people who are meant to protect you one is actively harming you and the other indirectly, then what more? Like, what more do you reach out to? You can't possibly expect anything else from anyone else, even though there are other people that are probably willing to help, right? Like if she went to somewhere else, and this goes back to talking about our feelings. Like if she went to someone else, maybe things would have been different. Maybe someone else would have listened. Maybe someone else would have acted. But because she's probably very young, right? She doesn't know any better. And so she resigns to her fate.
I'll spare you with the things he did, I'm sure her mother knew.
And then just one other thing I want to add. When he was walking, he almost looked like he smiled for a second there. And then all of a sudden now his eyes are going wide, the smile is gone. It's almost like Violet grew up happy. She not grew up happy, but she started out totally happy like a normal kid does. And then as she got older, the emotion, the happiness left her because of the things she was experiencing with her father. And now we're at this version of her that's quiet, doesn't want to talk to anyone, it's completely silent.
Violet was a silent girl, she moved out at 16. A semi-detached council flat, paid for by a welfare scheme. Packing shelves at Tesco, stacking jars like pickled bricks. She met a boy named Stevie and he was a little prick.
Right. So she was being abused by her father, and then she met a boy who's also going to be a jerk to her, who's also not going to treat her right. But because that's all she knows, she's probably going to end up with that boy because, well, hey, he probably treats me better than my dad did, or at least he probably starts off that way, right? He starts off treating her real nice, but then he goes off, and like once he realizes what he can get away with, he gets away with it. But also, if you look at the way he says that, he gets really angry about that, really annoyed about that guy being that way. And Violet, you know what? She paid for the house with a welfare scheme, but goddamn, do you blame her? Because like, what else could she do? And that really sheds a lot of light on like people who are living in poverty or living with less money than they can survive with, and the things they have to do to survive, right? And that almost goes back to Screech, who probably was alone, felt alone, and so the only thing he resorted to was doing what his friends did because they're the people who he was with. And so he resorted to violence, resorted to crime, because that's all he felt he could turn to. And that's what we're seeing here, right? She's using a welfare scheme to ultimately live in the place that she's living, and she's working at a place where she's stacking pickled jars, like some pickled bricks, no, some sort of jar like pickled bricks, and that's what her job feels like. It's this heavy, monotonous work. You're just putting this on the shelf just so you can live another day. And that's where you meet this individual who is probably about to ruin your life, but you don't know, and he feels like a breath of fresh air, so you're like, yeah, why not?
Violet was a silent girl, and Violet, she felt fast. See, Stevie was a wrong un, but he sure knew how to charm her.
Look at the way he looks. Sure knew how to charm her. It's like he's giving you a warning with his eyes, an angry, like, you better do what I say kind of warning. And that's what came out. He went from being a charmer to being that person. God damn.
Every night he took her tight, but never left the room. History repeats itself. He'd paint her black and blue and dark. She never stood a chance. The devil comes to dance.
The devil comes to dance. Here we go. So I think it's pretty clear Violet is the one who is going to die here. But just I'm honestly like, so impassioned, but also just so desperate for her to not have this life, even though we know it's coming. And he said history repeats itself, because that's literally what's happening here. Her father treated her this way. Now her boyfriend is going to treat her the same way, right? But it doesn't matter, because that's how she was treated. So maybe at this point she's like, that's just how it works. Let me just settle for this. Going back to the abusive relationships that we talked about in High Ren, except this time it's two actual people. It's not the devil on your shoulder, but there is a devil, and it's in the other boy who is now living with her, right? He's spending his time with her, and he's the devil. He is the evil, right? He's succumbed to that evil, and he is totally, like, he is encompassing it and bringing that to the relationship. And he said he tuck her in every night. So he's probably doing the same thing that her father did, but again, to her, it's normal. So what's the difference? I'm getting mad, guys. I'm like actually getting upset about this. This is so frustrating. It's like watching a train wreck and you just can't stop watching, because you know it's coming. You know this is not going to have a happy ending, but it's so powerful and so like majestic in a weird way that you can't stop looking. You can't look away. Well, let's not look away. And he also, sorry, I keep pausing. I just keep thinking of so much, because Ren is a goddamn genius. He looks up when he's singing that last verse, because it's like she never stood a chance. So he's looking up to God, or looking up to whatever almighty being, creation, whatever, and just looking like, where are you? Where is my chance? When do I get a chance? When does life turn better? But also because if I'm assuming she's gonna die. So she's also eventually gonna end up there in the heavens because she's going to die.
Violet, why are you always so quiet? On her bedroom door and he's irate. He's been drinking and smoking, he's up late. And he stands by her bedside, she shakes, but her eyes stay shut. You fucking slut, I know you're up. And he pinches her eyelids and folds them up. Violet, why are you lying to me, Violet? She stays silent, things turn violent.
Holy shit. I'm like so impressed by his ability to take on so many characters and keep playing both effortlessly, because you can tell when he's the guy and you can tell when he's the narrator, right? Because it's like the voice changes a little bit, it's more matter of fact when he's the narrator, but when he's the other individual it's so sinister, and it's because that's what's happening on the inside of that guy, right? He's got the devil inside him, and that's what we're seeing here. And also something he mentioned, he folds her eyelids up, that made me like physically uncomfortable to hear. I can't imagine that. And we also zoom in when he starts talking to her because he gets all up in her face the same way Screech did, which brings us back to... Come on, Ren. How do you do this? How do you do this?
That's the sound of his fists when they fall like a crashing pilot. Hit like hailstones, one to the collarbone, full force, full blown, blood splat, bone crack, knick knack, paddywhack, one to the jaw and the tooth spat, detached.
Sorry, I'm gonna pause it right there. That I don't want to forget to say this, but the knick knack paddywhack, because it's a children's song that it's almost like she should have been able to be happy, and this is such a big juxtaposition to what's happening, because it's like instead of it should Knick Knack Paddywhack is for kids songs, it's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be energetic, but to her that's the stories she was told as a child, right? That's the song she was sang as a child. She was hit, she was beat, she was treated maliciously, and that's her childhood, and so that's what she connects that with. Just goddamn.
Blown blood splat, bone crack, knick knack, paddywhack, one to the jaw and the tooth spat, detached fist connects and disconnects a bone. A quick deflect to misdirect the blow, but nonetheless his punches met her throat. Such a mess he's left her bruised and broke. Violet, why you always so silent, Violet? Why you such a little liar, Violet? Do you think I want to do this, Violet? In character, she stays silent. Well, say something, Violet. Silence. Fucking say something, Violet. Silence. Wait. Say something, Violet.
Well, we knew that was coming, and it does not make that any easier. Holy smokes. And did you hear what he said? He's basically saying that this is your fault. This is you that made me do this. I didn't want to do this. This is your fault. He's blaming her. Through hitting her, beating her, and all she does is try to deflect the shots, and he's blaming her. That's what it is to be a victim trapped in a vicious cycle of abusive relationships, right? That's what she's experiencing. She's in that cycle, and that goes back to the high end where the voice in your head is almost like an abusive partner, except this time it's real. It's really an abusive partner, and they look to you for faults and try to play it off like it's your fault, and they keep themselves on this pedestal because it's easier for them to think of themselves as, you know what, I'm not that bad. I wouldn't have done that if you hadn't acted this way. But no matter what the situation, why the hell were you hitting her, right? Why are you... God, I'm getting fired up. But, like, it's just... This is something you see so often in relationships and abusive relationships, and people just don't feel like they can get out. They feel trapped, and then this is what ends up happening, right? We end up in situations like this where it's just so tragic. And that's what we're seeing now. And did you see that last one? Wait, why are you so quiet? It's because now she's literally probably not moving. She's probably just out of commission, right? You hit her so hard, you knocked her unconscious. That's why she's so quiet. That's why she's silent. Because now she can't even talk if she wanted to. And he did that. But you know what? You know whose fault it is? It's probably still her fault in this guy's eyes. Okay. Well, we know how she ended up in the hospital now.
Say something, Violet. Not one word. She stays quiet.
back to the starting melody, but also we forwarded time that time instead. Last time we started from the top of the guitar and came down. Now we went from the bottom of the guitar and went up, implying that we forwarded back to the start of the song, and that's why we're hearing this melody again. I would not be surprised if we started off with the same lyrics, because Ren's a goddamn genius.
London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. The doctor, in a state of shock, saw something here so very wrong. See, Violet, she was pregnant. Poor Violet, she was 9 months gone.
Wow. Holy crap. So not only was she abused her entire life, but probably finally when she gets this glimmer of hope of having a child, who she's having a child with basically the devil, but still that's the last semblance of hope she has. That's when he lays into her so much that she ends up in the hospital on death's door. I'm so angry at Ren in such a passionate, like, happy way. Like, how are you such a master of music, but also to create something so visceral, to to evoke a reaction. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but evoke this kind of reaction. This must be so hard for anyone in an abusive relationship to watch or listen to, because it's so real. You know what I mean? It's so real. Everything feels real. Just brilliant, masterful musicianship and art. But also, just to comment, the way that he sings this verse, or this, I guess, I don't know, whatever the verse, is almost like more urgent this time. It feels like there's more urgency to the way that he's singing it. His eyes look a little more wide. It's like he needs help. She needs help, because now we understand how we got here. And it's getting to the point where it's terrifyingly late, because now we know that there's a baby involved, right? She has a child, right? Is that Screech? Well, regardless, she has a child, right? And that's, she's about to die with the child almost born. He said 9 months gone. The child was about to be born. And she was almost free in she almost had salvation in having this child and giving birth to them, and feeling connected to someone, something, because no one else has ever given her a connection before, but a child will love you if you support them. And so she finally had that possibility. But even that is being taken away from her because of some dude who thought he could treat her however she wanted, until the point that he put her in the hospital. God damn. Okay, let's go. Okay, I'm ready. I'm not ready, but I'm ready.
Turning to the doctor, Violet broke her silence and she cried, "If I'm to die right here tonight, please let my baby stay alive." The doctor soon regained composure, called the surgeon to come in. As Violet's world turned to black, the curtains closed, the lights went dim in London City.
I'm gonna pause real quick. Look at the way that he's walking now. It's desperate. He's clambering all over the place. He's almost falling over himself, because as Violet, he's on death's door. He doesn't have the energy to continue standing, right? Things are turning. Her world's going dark. She's just pleading now, and you can see it in his face. The way that he sings it now, it's almost begging. It's begging to save the child. Please do anything, save the child. And this is exactly what I was saying, is this is the one person on earth that she could have felt connected to. She just wants to see her child survive. Because if anything, at least she was able to do that for her child. God. I'm gonna get emotional, man. Friggin' heck. Okay, we'll rewind it back a bit.
The curtains closed, the lights went dim in London City, far from pretty. 2005, a lady down in Paddington just lost the fight to stay alive. A tragedy or a miracle?
A tragedy or miracle. Because, I mean, if she survived, even though she's been abused her whole life, she probably would have gone back, right? Gone back to that guy. And honestly, that's one thing that you have to think about, is her child would have been in danger. right? They would have been in danger. They would have been at the mercy of this guy who, like, if we go back to the way that Violet was treated, even her mother might have been treated that exact same way, and that's why she turned to alcoholism. And that's what led to her having like this detachment, because it's like, well, this happened to my mom too, and it happened to me too. So I guess it just happens to everybody. Let me let this happen to my daughter. But Violet, you can feel the the emotion. You can feel that if this was to happen, she wouldn't let that happen to her child. But there's always the chance, right? And it's a miracle in the sense that, one, Violet is freed from that trauma. She's not going to wake up or go to sleep thinking, am I going to be harmed again? Or even worse, are they going to harm my child? But two, the child doesn't have to deal with having to grow up under a roof with that guy. And so it is a tragedy because a mother has been lost when the child is born. But like it's a miracle because she doesn't have to, the child's not exposed to that.
It happened on these very streets, two twins are lying side by side.
So help me if you say Jenny and Screech.
A girl named Jenny
Oh,
and a boy named Screech.
and the classic fade to black, like so so many emotions, man. Like just I wow. He's he's amazing. He's amazing because he painted a picture of something that happens and we just don't see it, right? Like we don't always get to see it. In cases like this it's obvious, but in other cases people take abuse, people get hurt all the time, and it leads to this vicious cycle of repeated abuse, so much so that Screech ended up killing his sister without even knowing, because he would have had no idea, right? They probably were given up for adoption and entered the vicious cycle of adoption, which can be a great cycle for some people and it turns out well, but for many it's not. And so he and her were separated. Jenny lived a life that became relatively normal but was a little bit stagnant, and so she wanted to escape, which, although now in retrospect, when he said escape, did he mean escape to better things, or did he mean escape because she was also having the same experiences her mom had? And Screech, who didn't have any parents to guide him, but took on because he was like his father, right? He, well, even that's an assumption I should be making, but Screech, who had no mother, no father, but had essentially the genetics of an individual who was very aggressive, that's what the role that he took on, right? Ultimately. And so it led them to diverging paths that eventually met again in another tragedy. And now the rewind, the hands of time, it means even more because the tale of Jenny and Screech, even though they came before, they're actually after the tale of Violet. And so we rewinded the hands of time to tell Violet's tale, but we might have rewinded before that even started to tell Violet's tale. The writing, the music, the beautiful emotions that tear your goddamn heart out, the way that his expressions come through in the video, the way the directing is done, just all the choices that were made, and the way that the story connects to life, to real tragedies that happen, is a testament to Ren trying to expose this darker side of humanity. But not only just to say that this happens, but also to connect people who have undergone these kinds of tragedies, right? Because you know that someone's watching this and probably it hurts to see, right? It's very difficult to watch, but on some level, knowing that someone understands you, knowing that someone else may have gone through similar experiences, that is a way to feel connected. That is a way to feel like you are not alone, and that helps. Just, I am so impressed and so happy to have found Ren's music, because he truly is an inspiration. His music is not just for media, it's not just for marketing. Like it's way more than that, right? It's connecting the human experience and connecting us to each other, because that's what it's doing. That's what it's doing, right? At the end of the day, it helps us learn about ourselves. It helps us learn about the people around us. It helps us understand different lenses and different perspectives. And that's the real power of Ren's performances. I am emotionally exhausted. That was actually insane. What a beautiful tragedy. Just wow. Um man, I hope I hope if anyone is going through these experiences, they know that you're not alone. You're not alone. So please, if you're going through something like this and you haven't told anyone, please find someone to tell this to, because you're not alone. People will do stuff for you. I know how hard it can seem sometimes to be in these situations. But like there's always going to be a way out. You just sometimes it's not something you're able to see. I love you all. I hope you're all doing well. My God, I'm just in shock now. Um, we'll definitely be doing more Ren because he is something out of this world. He is amazing. He's truly amazing, and he is an artist. Um, if you enjoyed what you saw, like, comment, subscribe. But honestly, man, take care of yourselves. Spread some positivity because we need more of it. And I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day.